We shall not flag or fail. We shall go on to the end. The words hit like steel against the storm. Picture it. The House of Commons, June 1940. The air is thick with tobacco and dread. The beaches at Dunkirk still stamped into the eyes of a nation. Winston Churchill stands, not to soothe, but to steel. He casts a line through chaos and holds. He is not promising safety. He is promising resolve. We live in different battles now, but fear hasn't changed its face. Doubt still whispers. Pressure still squeezes. So what if we took that old sentence off the yellowed page and used it today as a rule? Not a slogan, a rule. A way of standing when everything around us shakes. Because this is the lesson hiding in those words. It was never about beaches or boats alone. It was about an inner front line, an invisible coast in the mind, where you either retreat from yourself or stand your ground. Churchill had every reason to buckle that summer. The map of Europe was folding like a house of cards in a stiff wind. Allies were scattered. Britain stood almost alone. The easy thing would be to lower the voice, soften the truth, and whisper of hope without teeth. He did the opposite. We shall not flag or fail. We shall go on to the end. Then the drum beat. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall never surrender. He knew something simple and brutal. Courage is a verb before it's a feeling. It's a posture you hold before your heart catches up. So what does that look like in our world? No helmets, no sirens, but the same pounding heart. It looks like choosing a forward step when your mind demands a backward one. It looks like saying, I will not flag in the hour that invites me to quit. I will not fail in the task that is mine. Here's a moment you won't see in the posters. Before he was the lion, he was the exile. After the Dardanelles disaster in 1915, Churchill was pushed out, blamed, and humiliated. He lost office. He lost standing. He almost lost himself. And in that winter, the fear wasn't that a nation would crumble. It was that one man would. He wrote, he painted, he walked fields to stop the mind from sinking under its own weight. He was not pretending it didn't hurt. He didn't deny the storm. He set himself to weather it. Churchill called his bouts of darkness the Black Dog. It was personal, not political. And this is the second rule that rises from his letters and his private hours. You don't have to be fearless to be brave. You just have to keep moving while the fear is barking. You move your hands. You shape your day. You refuse the collapse. What he meant then still matters now. Your crisis can be a headline or a quiet kitchen table at 2 a.m. It can be an email that lands like a fist or a silence that drags on too long. The enemy changes uniform. The battle stays the same. So take his rhythm, short sentences, clear orders, hold your ground, go on to the end. But imagine if we read his speeches without the sweat and smoke that made them. We would miss the point. Churchill showed the same pattern in how he led people, by pointing to others when fear was at its worst. August 1940. The air war over Britain is raging. Pilots are taking off and some never return. He stands in Parliament and throws a new kind of light. Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few. Not a statistic, a sentence like a bell. Why does that line still strike us in the chest? Because it teaches a third principle. When you are terrified, borrow courage from the few who keep going. Honor is energy. Gratitude is fuel. When the night is long, look to the small band. The nurse still showing up, the builder swinging the hammer, the student who studies anyway, the parent who keeps reading the bedtime story as bills stack on the table. The few are everywhere. And when you see them, you remember your own duty. You stand a little taller. Churchill's genius was not mystical. It was practical. He knew that in crisis, confusion kills faster than bullets. He couldn't afford vague words, so he declared a war on vagueness. In a famous note to civil servants, he attacked bloated phrases and foggy language. And he wrote a line that doubles as a life habit. Broadly speaking, the short words are the best, and the old words best of all. Why? Because short words hit bone. Short words are orders your soul can obey. Listen to his cadence. Fight, stand, go, hold, never. Do you feel how your mind clears when you use short words? He used them to cut through bureaucracy. You can use them to cut through the fog in your own head. You don't need a 12-step thesis for your morning. You need one phrase that you can't argue with. Stand up, send it, lift, call, rest, try. Here's where history and your life meet. Churchill built systems for days when his strength ran low. Look at the margins of his papers. Underlines, circles, the famous red stamp, action this day, pounding like a heartbeat. He didn't wait for inspiration to strike. He struck it. He pre-decided. He set a bias toward motion. What does that look like for you? A rule like this: no day without a line. That's what he did with painting and writing. If life is breaking you, your first job is not to say something grand. It's to say something plain and do it. Strip your day to verbs you can keep. Don't design a monument. Lay a brick. But imagine you could ask him, how did you speak so plainly when truth itself was unpopular? He knew the cost of naming the danger. After the war, in March 1946, he stood in Fulton, Missouri, and said the words that many didn't want to hear. From Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an iron curtain has descended across the continent. He was mocked for stoking fear. He was told to wait, to be polite, to let optimism do the talking. He wouldn't. He named the shadow because people needed a map more than a lullaby. This is the fourth rule. Speak the hard truth early. Not to frighten, but to free. In your life, that can mean admitting the habit you've dressed in excuses, naming the debt, saying out loud that a relationship is in trouble. Leaders lead by naming the storm while lighting the path through it. You are your life's first leader. Speak plainly to yourself. Now, I want you to picture something. A small office, the kind with heavy drapes and a desk stacked with paper. Churchill sits, cigar in hand, staring at a line he's about to deliver. Not to Parliament, to himself. You have an office like that, even if it's an empty room in the mind where you face the truth. What do you write there? What do you stamp in red ink? Your own action. This day is not a memo, it's a vow. And just as he drew strength from others, your courage multiplies when it's borrowed from the few around you. That's why he told the story of the pilots. That's why he celebrated the courage of factory workers and code breakers, as if they were soldiers on the front. Courage grows when it is seen, named, and shared. Even now, if you feel alone, look again. The few are closer than you think. We love to talk about Churchill, the roaring lion, but the roar hides a quieter discipline, the careful construction of sentences that carried people through the dark. He didn't throw hope blindly. He built it brick by brick, word by word, until even the frightened could lean on it. Here's how you can do the same. When fear corners you, don't negotiate. Don't argue your way out of the door you know you must open. Use his compact diction and issue yourself an order. Stand, call, begin. Then pick a small field, your version of the landing ground, and fight there. 10 minutes on the hardest task. 1 conversation you've delayed. 1 mile walked. 1 page turned. These are not small acts. They are your battle of Britain. But what about failure? Real failure, the kind that makes your face hot and your chest heavy. He knew that taste. He spent wilderness years away from power, carving his own path back with essays, books, and persistence that bordered on stubbornness. Failure, to him, wasn't the end of the road. It was the terrain of the road. He didn't pretend to be untouched by it. He made use of it. So let's be clear. Resilience is not a pep talk. It's a craft. It's the daily practice of turning losses into lessons and lessons into action. It's bricklaying with setbacks. If you can accept that, you're already stronger than you were 10 minutes ago. And there's another layer to this, just beneath the skin. Churchill's words walked a tightrope between dread and defiance. He never pretended the enemy wasn't real. He met it with names and numbers, but he also anchored people in a future they could not yet see. That's the art, to tell the truth about the night while lighting a candle for the morning. Think of this in your life. You don't have to lie to yourself. You don't have to say it's fine when it isn't. You can do what he did. Give fear its name and then give courage its orders. The name keeps you honest. The order keeps you moving. Midway through a crisis, we get tired of our own voice. That's when the old words help, because they carry weight beyond our moment. He leaned on words cut close to the bone, and so can you. The short words are best. They do not let you hide. They do not let you stall. They make cowards out of excuses. Half the battle is carrying the flame when the wind picks up, and sometimes you need a face in your mind to do that. Churchill gave Britain a face. The RAF pilots gave us faces. Who are yours? Who comes to mind when quitting feels reasonable? Think of them now. Hold their names like medals. And then do the next thing. Not everything, just the next thing. Let's pause here. What's the one Churchill line in this story that strikes you like a hammer? Drop it in the comments and tell us why it matters to you right now. And if this has lit a spark for you today, tap like and subscribe so more people can find their footing when it counts. Now, back to the work. The world will always hand you two options: deny reality or drown in it. Churchill chose a third. He named reality and then demanded a response from it. That's what "we shall not flag or fail" really means. It's not bravado, it's a decision. It's a line drawn inside that says, the storm can shove, but I will be found standing. He also believed something unfashionable, that words are acts. A sentence can change the weight in a room. That's why clarity matters. If your world is messy, don't make your words messier. Simplify, shorten, throw out the fluff. When he sent memos attacking bloated phrases, he wasn't being fussy. He was saving time and lives. Clarity moves people. Vague words keep them seated. This is your test. Can you make your plan one page long? Can you describe your next move in 5 words? Call him, send the pitch, take the stairs, block the hour. You'll find momentum lives in small invitations, not grand speeches you give to yourself and ignore. And when fear argues, as it will, you answer with the cadence he used. We shall fight on the beaches. Where's your beach? Your inbox? Your finances? Your health? We shall fight on the landing grounds. Where do you land each morning? At the desk? In the car? We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. Where do you meet resistance in public? In a meeting? On a call? In a crucial conversation? We shall fight in the hills. Where does the terrain tilt against you? We shall never surrender. That last line is the vow, not to the outcome, but to the effort. Outcomes can take their time. Effort is now. This is how he taught a nation to outlast terror, not by magical thinking, but by ordering the will, one sentence at a time, until the heart learned the rhythm. But imagine if he had softened those sentences. Imagine if he had promised quick victories and easy answers. We wouldn't be talking about him. We'd be forgetting him. The reason he still speaks is because he spoke like a man standing in the weather, not like a man watching it through a window. That's your invitation. Stand in it. Come into the weather of your own life. Write a line for yourself that sounds like this: I will not flag in the face of this deadline. I will go on to the end of this conversation with honesty. I will never surrender my health to convenience. I will not trade my future for an evening of relief. There's a story from the war rooms. The maps were never clean for long. Pins moved, strings cut, plans redrawn. People were discouraged. And then the voice would return to the room, not to pretend the mess wasn't there, but to insist it wasn't the last word. Run the new line, try the other route, push the timetable up, pressure the problem until it breaks. You can pressure your problem. You can name it, shorten your words, borrow strength from the few, and take a step. You can decide your posture before your feelings arrive. If you wait to feel brave, you'll wait forever. If you move while afraid, courage will find you moving. And on the other side of naming, there is the future. He saw a future that scared people. He said Iron Curtain when others begged him to say sunlight. But because he spoke early, people could prepare. In your world, naming a shadow can be the first light. A doctor's diagnosis hurts, but it points the way. A brutal budget reveals what must be cut, so what matters can live. A frank word can save a drifting relationship. One more thing, and it's small, but it matters. Churchill never assumed courage would feel dramatic. Sometimes it looked like silence at the right time. Sometimes it looked like staying at the desk when every nerve wanted to flee. Sometimes it looked like sleeping. Yes, sleeping. Because rest is part of war. He treated energy like ammunition. He rationed it. So should you. The lesson running through every speech, letter, and note is not complicated. Set your feet. Choose your words. Name your danger. Honor your few. Do the next thing. And then the next thing. That is how ordinary people become the spine of extraordinary times. So if you're in a dark corridor right now, take one of his lines and use it, not as history, but as a handle. We shall not flag or fail. You can shrink it to fit your pocket. Not flag, not fail. Go on to the end. That's it. Whisper it on the stairs. Tape it to your screen. Put it where fear looks for you first. When the sun comes up on your next hard day, clear your desk the way he cleared his sentences. Take out a pen and write one tough truth you've been avoiding. Then write one short order you will obey. Tell one person who counts, and then move. And tonight, when the black dog scratches at the door, borrow strength from the few. Think of a face who kept going and add your name to their ranks. It does not matter if no one sees it yet. It matters that you keep going. Because in the end, history drifts back to the same questions. When it was hard, did you flag? When it cost you, did you fail? Or did you go on? Churchill's life answers with a voice you can hear even now. Go on. Even if the map is a mess. Even if the room is dark. Even if the odds are a joke. Go on. And if he could step out of his era and speak to you personally, I think he would not waste words. He would look you in the eye and hand you something simple and heavy. A sentence to carry. We shall not flag or fail. We shall go on to the end. Not because we are certain of victory, but because we are certain of our duty. And duty, lived one small moment at a time, has a way of bending the future toward hope. So carry it, speak it, turn it into steps, and when the wind rises, let the old words do their work. Stand, fight where you are, name what must be named, honor the few, keep going. That is the rule that breaks fear. That is how you lead when the night is long. We shall not flag or fail, we shall go on to the end. Let it ring, then let it move your feet.